day, my friends and I were doing some post-final drinking when we decided to look on the web about some local urban legends. When we typed in what we thought was a normal search, we found dozens of creepy pics of what looked like a drowned woman in a white gown. The legend had a whole article on incidents in the woods not far from my house on what appeared to be an accident or possibly murder. The story is that a woman and her child died drowning in a river after their car crashed beyond a guardrail, and soon enough, people were investigating what the cause was. It should be said that the baby's body was found on the side of a creek where the river rode off about a mile off where the car was, but the mother's body was never found. Stories began to surface that the woman miraculously survived and was wandering about searching for her child. After reading about 3 different stories regarding the legend, we chose to investigate ourselves. There were 3 of us. Myself with the directions of the woods, my friend Dylan, who had the camera, my friend Sean, who was just in a bad place after his girlfriend got an abortion. We walked a while around 8:45 p.m. in the dead of night. It wasn't some full moon legend nonsense. It was a half-wane moon under clear skies in the middle of June. We stumbled upon an abandoned barn about around 10 when my friend got some chills. We looked and saw an abandoned farm with what we saw to be bolted shut. We snuck in through a window and searched. The barn was full of old clippings of a young woman with her child and even some of her marriage to an alcoholic who knocked her up. We looked at the date, which read to be in the 1950s. Now we could probably say she was raped and forced into marriage, given we live in the fucking boonies of Inbreeder Village. But still, creeped us right the hell out. We bolted and rushed back to the road, but we couldn't find our way. We went in all directions, according to the map, but we just couldn't. We ran and ran, but never got out. We realized that the legend had details we forgot about. I remember reading that there was a certain point where you were caught and you must chant her call. Then you're judged. I don't know what the judging means, but all I know is it's our only hope. So I chanted, "White lady, I have your baby. White lady, come for your baby. Decked in white and crying sweet, I beseech, please find your baby." I couldn't imagine our looks as a figure came forward, decked in white with clear eyes and a flowing gown, coming at us asking if we had our baby. We responded with no, and we only wished to leave and never enter again. She looked at us, and the next thing I knew, we were knocked out cold. We awoke near the river, and I could tell this was not normal. This was the spot she died in. I looked at both sides. Dylan was getting up, holding his head from a headache, but Sean didn't move at all. We shook him, then turned him over and couldn't believe what we saw. His face was contorted with fear, and his head was bleeding profusely. We had no idea what happened, and soon figured it out. White Lady judged each of us for our personal lives, and Sean had recently been with a girl who got knocked up. But the question is, how could she know about Sean's life and abortion? We called the police immediately, and it was ruled to be a drunken accident where we decided to hike on the rocks and Sean slipped and crushed his skull. After that night, me and Dylan never spoke of it again until we were hiking and found his camera. It was still near the barn and we saw the footage. The white lady grabbed Sean and began screaming so loud at our range we slipped into unconsciousness, and Sean had his eardrums blown out. Then, literally at a force of her hand, smashed him into a tree. The camera dropped out of my hands after seeing this. It completely smashed and was beyond repair, so we opened it up and took the SD card. We fled out of there, and we thought it was all over. The following weeks went by and Dylan was on his way back to college after summer break. When we drove in, we just didn't know what was going to happen next. I got word that he drove into a guardrail head first through his windshield. I didn't understand it, and I thought it was just an isolated incident, but then I realized the camera we used was stolen. I didn't know it was possible for an apparition to do this type of shit, but I couldn't tell anyone. I took the SD card and uploaded the video to an email and sent it to everyone I knew. Soon enough, someone posted it onto YouTube and people called it out as fake even though Sean was dead and they all knew it. But still called it a load of bullshit. White Lady appeared to me as well on several occasions, but did nothing. Probably as a reminder to not be an example of the other two. I rarely ever did anything wrong in my life as it is, but others around me have. So trust me, White Lady's coming. And might I just say, don't tell her you have her baby.